you're looking for an experienced, slick-talking politician, I'm definitely not your guy. But if you're looking for someone who's willing to reach across the aisle, please join me.
Well, if it wasn't clear over the course of the campaign, it certainly was made clear last night that experience will be one of the key storylines in the Massachusetts special election. Playing up his outsider status, Gabriel Gomez is trying to position himself as a more youthful option to Ed Markey's 37 years in Congress. Will it work? Joining me now is the Republican nominee for Senate, Gabriel Gomez. Mr. Gomez, congratulations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chuck. How you doing?
I should say welcome back, since we had you for a few minutes yesterday. I want to ask you about this issue of experience. Experience always can cut both ways. It's always easy to hit somebody for experience, but you know, you're replacing a John Kerry who has all the experience in the world. That was popular with Massachusetts voters. What's wrong with experience?
I have a lot of experience, and I think Congressman Markey has a lot of political experience, and I just think that right now we need real, practical, real-world experience, which is, you know, being in the military for 9 years, having been a pilot and a SEAL, having a lot of leadership, and then also being in the private sector, the real world, working with companies, and knowing how the economy works. Because right now, the #1 issue people are facing that I keep getting talked about is the economy and the $16 trillion in debt, and trying to get jobs back into the business and having companies start hiring again. That's the experience people are concerned about.
I want to tick through a couple of the issues that you may have to vote on if you're elected to the U.S. Senate in the next year. The background check bill on guns, mentioned to me. Where would you have come down on that?
I was in the debate a couple weeks ago. I would have voted for the bill that Senator Toomey from Pennsylvania and Senator Manchin from West Virginia proposed.
What about other expansions of gun control, like magazine limits, assault weapons ban? Where are you in those two?
Chuck, I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment, and I think I have a pretty unique perspective, having been a SEAL and firing all these weapons. And I don't believe that we need an assault weapons ban or to limit the number of rounds in high-capacity magazine. I think we need to focus in on is the bill that Senator Manchin and Senator Toomey put forward, and that is making sure we have the same background checks and a gun show loop, a gun show as you do when you buy it from a licensed dealer.
On immigration, the Gang of Eight proposal, are you generally supportive, or do you have questions about it?
I'm with Marco Rubio. I have a unique perspective on this as well. First generation American. My parents came here from Colombia. They're Colombian immigrants. I learned Spanish before I learned English. And I'm finally heartened that we're having a discussion on this. And I'm with the Gang of Eight, and I'm particularly with Marco Rubio on this.
You have said on the issue of abortion that personally you're pro-life, but does that mean, but you believe Roe is settled law? Does that mean you would cast pro-choice votes in the U.S. Senate? Is that what you're trying to tell folks in Massachusetts?
No, I'm Catholic. It's my faith. I was raised Catholic. I'm personally pro-life, but I'm not going down there to change the law. And it's been settled law. Roe v. Wade's been around for 40 years. It's settled law in Massachusetts. And Justice Scalia has come out and effectively said that this is settled. I think 40 years says precedence.
And last year, one of the things you've touted is the idea that you're an independent, sort of not a very political person. Last year, though, you were part of a group that was very critical of President Obama during the campaign. It was a very political group on the issue of the bin Laden raid and the eventual killing of Osama bin Laden. That's a very partisan act to have done when you did it, August of an election year, very much a partisan. How does that square with the persona you're trying to present as an independent, sort of not a political guy?
Sure. You know, I gave the president full credit for making the call to send that unit in to kill bin Laden and do the raid, and they did it phenomenally. What I had a major issue with was I think he took way too much credit afterwards as opposed to the unit that actually conducted the raid. And secondly, the national security issues that were raised afterwards, where people shouldn't have had the information of what unit it was, what kind of tactics they used, where they were based, etc. And that's what I had an issue with. I was just simply going on a show and discussing those two main points.
Did you feel you got too partisan? Is that something you regret?
I didn't get partisan at all. Like I said, you know, I have a lot of friends that are still in the SEAL teams, and I gave the president full credit for making the call. But where I had issue was that I thought he took way too much credit, and I think it should have gone to the unit. And also raised Senator Feinstein was actually on my side on this issue when too much information, and so did Secretary Gates at the time, thought we had leaked way too much information in terms of the raid and the unit involved.
All right, Gabriel Gomez, the new Republican nominee for the U.S. Senate, special election coming up. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, sir.